Japan doesn't just solve problems. It solves them so completely that going back to living without the solution feels like a genuine step backwards. Chewing gum that comes with its own disposal paper so it never ends up on a pavement or under a seat. A plastic bag that dissolves completely in water without leaving a single trace of microplastic behind. And a fresh fruit smoothie made in under a minute at a convenience store with no added sugar, no preservatives, just frozen fruit. These aren't futuristic concepts or expensive innovations. They're simple ideas Japan has already built that the rest of the world will be wishing they had. Today, we're counting down 12 Japanese ideas so smart they should be global. Watch until the end, because number 12, Japan's cookie spoon, is the simplest idea on this list, and somehow the one that makes you wonder why nobody else thought of it first. Number 1. Foldable silicone travel cup. Disposable cups are one of those single-use habits most people never question. A coffee on the way to work, a drink at an event, a smoothie between meetings. Each one gets used for 20 minutes and thrown away, and the reusable alternative most people own stays at home because carrying a rigid cup around all day isn't something anyone actually wants to do. Japan designed a cup that removes that excuse entirely. A Japanese foldable silicone travel cup collapses completely flat when it's empty, fitting into a jacket pocket or the front pouch of a bag. When you need it, it opens into a fully functional cup in seconds. It handles hot drinks, cold drinks, seals shut for transport, and goes in the dishwasher when you're done. The only reason most people don't carry a reusable cup every day is the size. Japan removed the size, kept everything else, and made the disposable cup genuinely unnecessary. Number 2. 7-Eleven fruit smoothie machine. Most convenience store drinks are either heavily processed, loaded with sugar, or both. The gap between grabbing something quick and grabbing something genuinely good for you has always been the same gap between fast and fresh, and most convenience stores have never come close to closing it. Japan's 7-Eleven stores closed it with a machine. Self-serve smoothie machines installed in Japanese 7-Eleven locations blend individually portioned bags of frozen fruit into a smooth, consistent drink in under a minute. No added sugar, no preservatives, no juice concentrate padding out the volume. Just fruit blended fresh in front of you for a few hundred yen. The machine requires no staff to operate. You select your flavor, insert the bag, press the button, and collect your drink. The whole interaction takes less time than waiting in a coffee queue. It's a genuinely nutritious drink available at the same counter where most countries sell energy drinks and processed snacks. Japan looked at convenience store food and decided it could actually be convenient and good. Number 3. Ocean-safe dissolvable plastic bag. Plastic bags are one of those environmental problems that most countries have addressed with partial measures, charging a fee for them, encouraging reusable alternatives, banning the thinnest versions while leaving thicker ones in circulation. None of it eliminates the fundamental problem of plastic that enters the ocean and stays there indefinitely. Japan developed a bag that dissolves when it does. Japanese dissolvable bags are made from polyvinyl alcohol, a material that breaks down completely on contact with water within hours, leaving no microplastic residue, no toxic byproduct, and no environmental trace. They're currently used in Japanese hospitals for contaminated laundry, in hotels for toiletries, and in packaging applications where standard plastic would create disposal problems. The material performs identically to standard plastic in dry conditions. It carries the same load, seals the same way, and requires no change in how it's used. The only difference is what happens when it meets water. It's a direct replacement for one of the most damaging materials in global use, and it already exists. If you're enjoying this so far, go ahead and tap like. It tells YouTube you want more of Japan's clever, everyday innovations. And if you love discovering things you didn't even know existed, hit subscribe so you don't miss the rest of this list. Trust me, the next ones are even smarter. Number 4. Oshibori towels at restaurants. Sitting down at a restaurant and immediately having clean hands is something most people in the West achieve by either using the bathroom before being seated or accepting that they won't bother until after they've already handled the menu, the condiments, and the bread basket. Japan hands you a towel the moment you sit down. An oshibori is a small, damp cloth, hot in winter and cold in summer, offered to every customer at the start of every meal at virtually every restaurant in Japan. You wipe your hands, set it aside, and eat with hands that are actually clean, rather than hands that have touched every surface between the entrance and the table. The hot version warms cold hands after a winter commute. The cold version refreshes after summer heat. Both take 3 seconds to use and solve a hygiene problem that most Western restaurants never acknowledge exists. It costs almost nothing to provide and immediately changes the experience of sitting down to eat. Number 5. Convenience store bento box. Fast food solves one problem and creates several others. It's quick, it's available, and it's almost always nutritionally poor, overpriced for what it is, and packaged in enough single-use material to make the convenience feel like a compromise. Japan's convenience store bento box solves the same problem without any of the trade-offs. A freshly prepared bento box from a Japanese konbini contains rice, a protein, and multiple vegetable sides in a single compartmentalized container, prepared multiple times daily to ensure freshness. The nutritional balance is built into the format. A standard bento covers carbohydrates, protein, and vegetables in proportions that no burger and fries combination comes close to matching. The price is significantly lower than equivalent fast food in most Western countries. The packaging is minimal, and because the selection changes daily, the same konbini visit produces a different meal every time. It's fast food that's actually food, available at the same counter as everything else you'd stop to pick up during a busy day. Number 6. Automated parking towers. Parking is one of the most inefficient uses of urban space in any city. Cars spend the vast majority of their existence stationary, and the space required to store them at street level or in standard multi-story car parks consumes land that cities with limited space simply can't afford to dedicate to empty vehicles. Japan solves it by stacking them vertically and automating the process entirely. A Japanese automated parking tower uses mechanical lifts and rotating platforms to move vehicles into individual storage slots arranged in a tower structure. You drive in, step out, and the system takes the car. When you return, you enter your ticket, the system retrieves your vehicle, and it's waiting for you at the entrance within minutes. The tower fits up to 20 vehicles in the footprint of 2 or 3 standard parking spaces. No ramps, no driving in circles, no searching for a space. The car goes in, the machine handles everything, and the land above street level that would otherwise be wasted on a car park ramp becomes usable floor space instead. Number 7. Natural disaster simulation centers. Japan sits on one of the most seismically active regions on Earth and experiences more natural disasters per year than almost any other country. Rather than simply telling people what to do when one occurs, Japan built facilities where they can physically experience it instead. Natural disaster simulation centers are publicly accessible buildings found across Japan where visitors go through simulated earthquakes, typhoons, smoke-filled evacuation routes, and flash flood scenarios in controlled environments. The earthquake simulator replicates the physical sensation of major seismic events at different magnitudes. The evacuation simulations teach navigation through zero visibility smoke without the actual danger. The research on disaster preparedness consistently shows that physical experience produces significantly better emergency responses than written instructions or video guidance. People who have felt a magnitude 7 simulation react faster and more effectively than people who have only read about what to do. Japan treats disaster preparedness as a practical skill that requires practice rather than a pamphlet that requires reading. The simulation centers are the infrastructure that makes that possible. Number 8. Chewing gum disposal paper. Chewing gum is one of the most persistent sources of street pollution in any city. It gets spat onto pavements, stuck under seats, pressed into carpet, and left on every public surface imaginable because the moment someone is done with it, there's rarely a convenient or hygienic way to dispose of it that doesn't involve either finding a bin immediately or doing something everyone pretends not to notice. Japan solved it by putting the solution inside the packet. Japanese chewing gum packs include individual small squares of paper alongside every piece of gum, specifically for wrapping used gum before disposal. The paper is the right size to wrap a chewed piece completely. It's included as standard rather than as an optional extra, and its presence makes proper disposal the default rather than the effort. The streets around Japanese train stations, parks, and public spaces reflect this directly. Gum on pavements is genuinely rare in Japan, not because of enforcement or fines, but because the disposal solution is already in your pocket before you even open the pack. Number 9. Level crossing system. A railway level crossing is one of the most dangerous intersections in any transport network, and in most countries the safety system protecting it is a set of barriers and flashing lights that occasionally fail with consequences that make the news. Japan treats level crossing safety as an engineering problem that requires multiple redundant solutions rather than a single barrier and a warning light. Japanese level crossings use a layered system of sensors embedded in the road surface that detect any obstruction remaining in the crossing zone after barriers have lowered, triggering an immediate signal to the approaching train. The barriers themselves are supplemented by additional lights, audible warnings, and in many locations, secondary barriers that prevent pedestrians from walking under a raised primary barrier. The combined failure rate of this system is so close to zero that when a level crossing malfunction does occur in Japan, it generates national media coverage. Not because it's a major disaster, but because it's so rare that it's considered genuinely newsworthy. Number 10. Public toilet standards. Public toilets in most countries exist on a spectrum between barely functional and actively avoided. They run out of paper, the locks don't work, the floors are wet, and the overall experience of using one is something most people try to avoid until they have no choice. Japan's public toilets are a completely different category of facility, maintained multiple times daily, stocked with paper continuously, and in many locations equipped with full washlet functions, including heated seats and bidet functions. Japanese public toilets in train stations, parks, and city streets are cleaner than the bathrooms in most people's homes. The Tokyo Toilet Project, a public initiative that commissioned internationally recognized architects to redesign 17 public toilets across Shibuya, demonstrates how seriously Japan takes public bathroom infrastructure. The results are facilities that function as genuine public amenities rather than last resorts. Clean public toilets aren't a luxury in Japan. They're a standard that the entire country maintains as a basic expectation of public life, and experiencing them makes the alternative impossible to accept without frustration. Number 11. Escalator etiquette. An escalator moves everyone on it at the same speed, which works perfectly until someone needs to move faster than the escalator is going. In most countries, there's no system for this. People stand wherever they want. The person in a hurry stands behind them saying nothing, and everyone arrives slightly more frustrated than necessary. Japan solved it with an unwritten rule, so universally observed it functions as infrastructure. On escalators across Japan, one side is kept clear for standing, and the other is kept free for walking. Nobody enforces this. There are no signs requiring it in most locations. It's a cultural standard so deeply embedded that violating it would feel as socially inappropriate as cutting a queue. The result is an escalator that simultaneously serves people who want to stand and people who want to move, without either group inconveniencing the other. It costs nothing to implement, requires no physical modification to any escalator, and makes every escalator in every building and station in the country more efficient. The rest of the world has the same escalators. It just hasn't agreed on how to use them yet. Number 12. Japanese cookie spoons. Single-use plastic cutlery is one of those disposal problems that accumulates invisibly. Every takeaway meal, every convenience store purchase, every ice cream cup comes with a plastic spoon that gets used for 3 minutes and thrown away. Multiply that across billions of daily transactions, and the scale of the waste becomes difficult to justify against the problem it's solving. Japan made the spoon out of cookie instead. Japanese cookie spoons are biscuit-based utensils baked into a spoon shape, sturdy enough to scoop ice cream, yogurt, or any soft food without breaking, and edible when you're done. No disposal required. No recycling stream needed. No plastic entering any waste system anywhere. The flavor is neutral enough not to affect whatever you're eating. The structural integrity holds for the duration of a standard portion, and the environmental calculation is simply a cookie versus a piece of plastic that will exist for hundreds of years. It's the kind of solution that seems obvious in retrospect, which is usually the clearest sign that it took genuine creativity to arrive at in the first place. If you want to see more amazing things Japan is doing better than the rest of the world, then like and subscribe. And make sure to watch the video on your end screen. It's packed with even more smart things.